Welcome to the channel Dad's Danger. And let me start off the video by saying shout out to Regio Tejano. I actually didn't know this interview actually existed, and his video came up on my feed, and I was like, let me check that shit out. So Bozo has some concerns. He has some concerns about our culture, right? So let me go ahead and try to alleviate his concerns and lift that weight off his shoulders. Now let's go to the part where Regio Tejano had an issue with, and let me go ahead and touch on it, and touch a little bit more of the whole segment about culture being exploited and culture being lost to quote unquote black culture.
Pomona, yeah, yeah. So the homie's telling me like he literally asked me the same shit, but in a different context. He's like, how do you feel about where we're at right now? And I'm like, dog, like right now we gotta fight for our identity as a culture because if we don't, what's gonna happen is we're gonna become another Houston. And I don't mean that in no disrespectful way, but the Hispanics in Houston have adapted the black culture completely to where you can't really tell the difference between a Mexican rapper and a black rapper. Man, you don't really want to know what I think, dog, because it's gonna sound ugly. Yeah. But I think it comes with a type of submission, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they gave up on trying to represent the culture in its purest form.
So let's start this off with the question, and the question is, what is the purest form of our culture? Because even in Mexico, each state has their own different cultural norms. And if you check out the United States in whole, the South is different from the North. The North or the Northeast is different from the West Coast. So what are our purest? What is the purest form of our Chicano culture? But anyways, I lived in Colorado, Utah, and Georgia. I've met a lot of Texans living here in California, and I also met a lot of Texans. Met a lot of Texans in when I lived out in Georgia. And I really can't talk about Utah too much because I wasn't there for too long. I was only there for a few months. But as for Colorado and Georgia, I was there for a good ass minute. And from what I can tell you about Colorado and Georgia, um, and actually the Texans that I met in those states, no, there's no real difference between a Texan, Hispanic, Chicano, and a Californian Chicano, or for that matter, a Coloradan or a Georgian. There's no real difference. And yeah, sure, I can go ahead and talk about the accents and all that shit, but that's just too obvious. What I'm talking about is the actual core fundamentals, because a Mexican parent is a Mexican parent no matter where the state they live in. So yeah, all the Mexicans that I've met in all these states, we pretty much act the same. All I'm saying is that that comment's a pretty bold comment, and I'm just guessing that that Bozo never really experienced somebody's life or culture, or you know what I mean, that the state culture that they live in, because it's truly a trip, and it's different, but it's familiar. That's like the best way to describe it. Look, what it comes down to is that since he likes to defend or just defend the homies, I'm gonna go ahead and try to defend the whole Chicano culture. So let's go ahead and fast forward and continue to listen to some of his concerns.
Because that's where we're at right now. You know what I'm saying? Everybody imitating the black culture, right? Without no regard for their culture, no regard for their lineage, no regard for their blood, and no regard for their history. Yeah.
Again, I'm gonna go ahead and start this off with the same question. The question is, what's our culture? What's our culture in our history? And I'm gonna come back to this, but let me go ahead and touch on having no regard for our lineage and our blood. And all I gotta say about representing or having no regard for our lineage, is this: if someone wears an Aztec or has an Aztec Mayan, Huelga tattoos, you're a gangster. There's no question to it. Was the pause dramatic enough? Maybe. Nah, I don't know. But anyways, as for um, our history ties in with our blood, and that actually changed way back when Spain took over. Of course, we fought back and we regained our culture. If not even regained, we evolved our culture to what it is right now. But that's not our culture. That's Mexican culture. And I'm not saying to not embrace Pancho Villa y las Adelitas, which, as a matter of fact, were soldaderas. It's not a bar. Well, actually, it is a bar in TJ, but the true Adelitas, they were soldadas that fought alongside their husbands and their sons. And I'm not talking about putting those history markers to the side, but what I'm trying to say is that why is it so difficult to embrace someone like Ellen Ochoa? She was born in Los Angeles, California. She was actually the first Hispanic woman in space, and her parents are from Sonora, Mexico. Why can we embrace a culture that's not completely ours? It's okay, but once you try to embrace and actually put some regard to our Mexican American culture, it's just so goddamn difficult. Another person that's American but of Mexican descent is Sergeant Roy Benavides. This guy, he was a badass Texan boy. I'm telling you. His mother was Native American and his father was Mexican. I believe he migrated from Guanajuato. I'm not too sure on that, but they have a big ass documentary on Sergeant Roy on YouTube. So go ahead and check that shit out. So again, what is our culture, or what do you consider our culture? But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and set up a collage on a few statements of more concerns of bozos, and let's get this shit started.
So then why don't we see a lot more blacks trying to be Mexican that grew up around Mexicans?
I mean, shit.
Okay, that's the proof in the pudding to me. Yeah.
YG signed Sad Boy Loco. You know,
YG dresses like us for the most part. I hear that part of the argument, and I've thought about that part of the argument.
Okay.
But then, when I see rap videos, lowriders, well, especially on the West Coast, you know what
Well, I
I'm
was
saying?
gonna say, would you consider? I mean, because to me,
Lowriding is us. That's us.
100%.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Start on the east side, yeah.
Yeah.
But they showed like the 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 parts they should highlight, like the dope shit that we do. You know what I'm saying? Not goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? Or motherfuckers just like mariachis.
Right.
Like we're not out here dressed like mariachis. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, let's just be real. You feel what I'm saying? I get it. It's a part of the culture, huge part of the culture, but.
Yeah.
I never see one of my homies on the block dressed like a mariachi. You know?
Right.
Mariachi, say it right. Like I'm talking like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know no better.
So you covered the lowriders and also that we don't wear mariachi suits. All right, you covered all that. But let me go ahead and add to what else we brought into the hip hop black culture besides lowriders and breakdancing, because you know what I mean, everybody should know by now. Granted, it was a Puerto Rican thing, but it is a part of Hispanic culture. But anyways, let's get down to the additions, and let's start this shit off currently. Currently, the slang goofy. The slang goofy, it came from a Mexican. How do how do I know? Because there's a podcast where it was a black guy, and he was saying that he'll never use the word goofy because Mexicans started that slang term. So, so if anything, if that's validate, if that's not validation, I don't know what is. And another current issue that is brought up by different types of cultures is talking about paperwork, talking about the green light, whether they put the green light on somebody or they got the green light. You know what I mean? Or it's been said before by other cultures, but it's never been talked about like the Hispanic culture. You know what I mean? Now let's go back a few years. When it comes down to wearing bright ass colors, believe me, there were Mexicans and Puerto Ricans, especially Puerto Ricans and Dominicanos and all that shit. They wear some bright ass colors. So do Mexicans, but not as much as as Puerto Ricans and Dominicanos over there on the East Coast. Another thing I'm gonna go further back is PJs. PJs, wearing your PJs to the store or even the mall. I can go way back with that shit. As a matter of fact, fucking huaraches. Who fucking started wearing huaraches to go to the damn market? Another example involving huaraches is rest in peace Kobe Bryant's or huaraches. Go ahead and Google Kobe's huaraches. It's not huarache, it's huarache. You know what I mean? Our culture impacted Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, so much that he named his shoe after a Mexican sandal. And to many, it might not seem relevant, but believe me, those little things, like they say, the little things really make a big ass impact. So another issue that I wanted to talk about, but I'm not gonna go ahead and play. It's about 6ix9ine and how both of them they were talking about how 6ix9ine represented the Mexican culture. And I'm gonna have to tell you no. I have nothing against 6ix9ine. You know, what I mean, he did what he did, whatever. I really don't care. That's not a part of my life. But he didn't. He didn't represent the Mexican culture, man. Yeah, he threw around the Mexican flag, like probably every goddamn video. I'm not even too sure. But he was a blood. And no disrespect to Bloods or whatever, but Bloods aren't Mexican. Whether you're in the East Coast, down south, or on the West Coast, if you're representing Bloods or Crips, you're not really representing the Hispanic culture. But anyways, I'm about ready to shut this video down, and I'm gonna try to answer the question that Bozo had at some point in the interview, where he wonders whether or why the Hispanic culture, especially in particular the Mexican culture, is not represented. But it also includes other Hispanics. All right, so check this out. America, we don't realize the impact that we have in this American culture in whole. A lot of Americans, whites, blacks, Asians, they don't really get that they have some Mexican quirks. And again, how it involves other Hispanic cultures, it just depends on the region that you live in, whether you live in the east, west, south, north, whatever. You know what I mean? The Hispanics are usually a majority in a lot of these states, and the quirks and the characteristics that Hispanics have, um, a lot of whites and a lot of blacks share those same quirks. The same way that Hispanics share and gain characteristics from other cultures, other racial cultures, and their quirks and shit. um, they do too. And until we realize that shit, I guess I don't want to say that they understand us better, because they truly do have an understanding. But until that day comes, the realization comes, it's like they'll understand that, you know what, they are a part of the American culture. So therefore, you know what I mean, let me go ahead and, like, you know what I mean, like, just tinker around with that type of music, or those type of movies, or just anything in general that involves Hispanics. So with that being said, the actual conflict that's going on in within the Hispanic rapping community, it can be a good thing. How it could be a good thing, I think it'll show that we are more diverse than what we realized and what they realized, and they'll understand that that our diversity, it is a regional thing, and that they can actually relate to some of those issues. But anyways, if that does happen, Uncle Ricky's not gonna be the weird one, and we're gonna go ahead and be the weird one. With that, man, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Like, subscribe, and comment.